What's up, everybody? This is Whisky in the 6. I'm Rob. It's that time of year again, doing my Whiskey of the Year for 2022. None of these can be over $500 retail. There are some honorable mentions that I'll get started with right now. There's quite a few great whiskeys I had this year. This was one of the better years for whiskey for me. In the last couple of years, I've been pretty disappointed as to what was released in those years, especially last year, the year before, during COVID. This year was much better. So, honorable mentions, there's a whole bunch. Springbank just kept knocking it out of the park this year. Their society release bottles were incredible. The 8, the 28, the Hazelburn 21, that was new this year as well. Excellent whiskey. There was a whole bunch of Glenfarclas family casks that I really enjoyed. A surprise that almost actually made the list this year because of the price point and how good the quality is for what you're getting was the Compass Box Orchard House. It just got knocked out right at the end, which is unfortunate for it, but still very, very good whiskey, and I highly recommend it. Starting over here with my number 6. This is a Glen Allan 2006. It's 15 years old. It's 100% Oloroso cask matured, and Oloroso puncheon to be exact. There are only 686 bottles. This was a KWM exclusive, so if anybody is following the rant, they know what that means. KWM exclusive, single cask. Cask number is 4,785. Just an incredible whiskey. 59.2%, does not drink anywhere close to that. Such a rich, beautiful, well-rounded whiskey and incredible for this time of year. Number 5 is another surprise for me. It's from the Glen Allan family, the 10-year-old cask strength Lumreek. This one has some Islay whiskey in it as well, which I think might be Port Charlotte, perhaps some Laphroaig. Really, really good whiskey. 55.4%, 10 years old, no added color, unchill filtered, all those fun things. And I do believe that because of stuff like this and the Compass Box I mentioned earlier, we're gonna see a renaissance in blended whiskey in the next little while, just because it's so much easier to get, a lot easier to source from a bunch of different distilleries, with a true whiskey geek mentality at hand here, which is something I think different from what blends used to be. Okay, they're taking the Compass Box method in new blends and they're applying it and using their knowledge and all the things that whiskey geeks really want, people like you and me, things that we would really want to make these whiskeys better, and they have so much more at their disposal just because they can use stuff from Islay, they can use stuff from Highland and Speyside and Campbelltown, which is really cool. So this Lumreek McNair's 10-year-old, fantastic stuff. I highly recommend it. All the talk this year must have been directed to one distillery in particular, and that distillery is this one right here at my number 4. It's the Ben Lomond. All right, this one in particular is the 2010 vintage batch 1, 58.5%. These are all at least 10 years old. Really, really good stuff. Honestly, I was super, super impressed with this. Kept going back to it. I bought some backups. Already went through one with a bunch of buddies because everybody I poured this for really enjoyed it. Excellent stuff. Honestly, so far what you've seen on my list right now is stuff that I bought backups of. That really tells me that I enjoy that whiskey enough to want to enjoy it again, which is rare nowadays with the amounts of whiskey that I purchase on a regular basis. So something like this, to buy backups of, to keep going back to it, tells me that it's really, really fantastic. I heard the 2012 is even better, or at least just as good as this 2010, and if it is, then I'll be buying it regularly. Just excellent stuff. I can't wait until the 2011 comes out next year. I'm really looking forward to that. Really, really good stuff. Keep an eye on Ben Lomond, guys. Not that you haven't heard it on this channel already, but they're doing some fun things out there, and I think you guys are gonna wanna pay attention. Get a little sip going here. Whiskey potentially gonna be reviewed in 2023. Next up is my number 3, and that's the Springbank 15. Now, this one in particular is the January 2022 release. I'm actually sipping a June 2022 release, which we just got in Canada now at this time of year, but I've been enjoying this one for a while. You guys have heard a lot about it. The best Springbank 15 I've ever tried, in my opinion. Just fantastic stuff. I think other people have this on their list as well. It was just really, really good this year for whatever reason, and I'm really, really happy with it. I hope whatever the formula is for this one, I know this one was 100% Oloroso. I hope they keep doing it if they can, if they have the resources to do it, because this will be a staple on my bar for the rest of my life if I can get my hands on them, which is getting harder and harder to do. The 10 and the 15 are still somewhat attainable. I wouldn't say easy to come by, but definitely attainable. And I was able to get this one from January and the one I'm sipping on right now from June, and I hope I can keep getting them in the future. But this had to be my number 3, and honestly it would have been my number 1 if the number 2 and number 1 weren't so good, and that's coming up right now. So number 2 is this Gordon MacPhail Spey Malt from Macallan Distillery, single cask, distilled in 2000, bottled in 2021. It's 21 years old, 55.5%. This one came to Canada. I think the whole cask came to Canada, to be honest with you. I don't have very much left. Incredible value. Now, some stores took advantage of this, of course, and like I said, anything over $500 doesn't get included onto this list. This was $350 retail. So for a 21-year-old cask strength single cask Macallan, $350 is an absolute steal in my opinion, and I would buy that again all day, every day if I could. A 21-year-old Macallan from the actual distillery, so those like exclusive single casks that they have, you're looking at least $2,000, if not more. So the value you get in this bottle is absurd in my opinion, and just incredible whiskey from start to finish. Really sad that I'm on the tail end, but I do have a backup and I will enjoy that one as well. All right, so number 1, cue the quote from a rant earlier on this year. Speaking to Bowmore, because I just acquired the 21-year-old Aston Martin. When Bowmore wants to, I mean, have you tried it yet, Ralphie?
Absolutely wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. No chance. No chance.
The Bowmore 21 Aston Martin. This is an incredible whiskey, okay? 40% of this whiskey consists of spirit derived from 1985, 1986, and 1987, making 40% of this 35, 36, and 37 years old. The rest of it is 21 years old. 51.8%. I highly doubt that there's added color or chill filtration happening here based on the texture and all that other stuff. Absolutely incredible whiskey. Both this and the Spey Malt made my top 10 whiskeys of all time. And that's high praise in my opinion, because I've tried some incredible whiskeys, stuff that cost 3, 4, 5, 10 times more expensive than this. Just a beautifully crafted, as it says on the bottle, whiskey. And I know that some people are gonna have their qualms about it. There is a lot of marketing nonsense going on with this, in my opinion. No knock on Aston Martin or Bowmore. I'm just not one for the connection to a car company or anything of that sort. That's not gonna lure me toward a whiskey in any way, shape, or form, but it will lure some, and I'm sure it did. This bottle was going for $270 Canadian in some provinces. Take that in for a second, $270 Canadian in some provinces. That means that this was less than half the price of the Bowmore 26-year-old, which was a French oak cask, I believe, and the Bowmore 27-year-old, way less than half than the timeless 26-year-old, which was, I think, $2,000 Canadian. So for $270, this is literally robbery. For $350, which is what most Canadians grab this at, it's still an incredible deal. And I do think that in some provinces it went up to about $600, which is unfortunate because it tells you that the markup on this was absurd. If some provinces were able to get their 30 to 40 points and still sell this for only $270 Canadian. So, Bowmore Aston Martin 21, my favorite whiskey of the year. It's absolutely incredible. I highly recommend it if you can get it at retail. Unfortunately now, I think the prices have gone up since the 22 came out. I had a chance to try the 22. It's very good as well. Nowhere near as good as this in my opinion. So, Bowmore 21 Aston Martin, that's my number one. Hope you enjoyed it. I had a really good time this year. We're hoping for new things in the future. We're hoping for broadening even more, probably more rants coming up as well. If there is something that you thought I did really, really well this year that you would like to see more of, please share it. I enjoy hearing from you guys. I enjoy the comments. I don't get a chance to answer every single comment, but I'll at least like it or heart it. Some sort of interaction when I can. Really enjoy that you guys are leaving the comments and showing that you care about what's happening here on the channel. So big shout out to you guys. Really appreciate it. Because of you, I keep going. So thank you. And to all of you, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, as well as a Happy New Year. Cheers.